Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! This happened a few years ago and I started to use Reddit about 10 days ago. I was at a clothes store and I was getting new pants because my cousin spilled some Vimto, a red drink that is made of raspberry, on my pants. So on to the story. So I'm in a line at the cashier and then I feel a tap on my shoulder and I turn around. Yes? My little boy wants to have those pants. There are some left over there. While pointing at where I got the pants. No, I want those pants. Referring to the ones in my hands. Now I could have just given her the pants, but I have anger issues and I don't take crap from anyone. And I really don't understand why she can't just go there and get one herself. I'm not sure if you heard me, but there are more pants over there. The entitled mother beginning to get mad at this point. No, I want these pants. Why are you acting childish? How dare you? I told you many times there are… She cuts me off. No, you give me these pants because you insulted me and you always have to respect the people who are older than you. If you consider yourself older than me, then act like you aren't a toddler. Someone called the security and when they came, they were 3 strong men. Guards! He tried to hurt my son. Me just standing there with my mouth wide open. That's not true. The guards are listening to her story and then the nice kid jumps in. He was her 13-year-old boy, the same age as me. He says, "No, that's not true. He didn't do anything to me." And at that point, everyone's gathering around us and I started to feel like a gladiator in the Colosseum because everyone was watching and wanting to know who wins. The guard says, "Okay, let me go check the security cameras." The entitled mother started panicking and kicks one of the guards hard, and the one of the 2 remaining guards tased her because of how she was trying to assault him as well with the stuff she had in her hands. And that was the first time I had ever seen a taser in action. The guards cuff her up and bring her out of there while the kid is crying and following her. I feel bad for the kid, but she deserved that. That happened a few weeks back and I was really hesitant to share it here, hoping that Karen doesn't recognize herself. Here it is. I, 23, was browsing in a shopping center with my autism service dog Knox. She's 1-year-old female. We were doing so as training. I was picking clothes and trying them on hoping that, at the end of the training, I will find something that suits my style. As I was entering another alternative clothes store, Karen tapped me on the shoulder. You know that dogs aren't allowed in these stores, right? Me, visibly confused. Sorry? Did you ever hear me? I said that you need to leave. Me, as I point to the Knox's vest showing the label and the program name that certified her. Ma'am, this is a service dog of… Karen cuts me off. You're clearly not disabled. Even less you're not autistic. You can talk. Now leave the store before I call security and get you banned. Me barely holding my tears. Excuse me, please. No, I'm going to walk you to the exit to be sure that you and your dog are leaving. In these moments, Knox alerted. I needed to sit down, but I couldn't. Everything was so loud, and it seemed the lights were getting even brighter. I started crying and Knox moved between my legs for comfort. Me sobbing and repeating, "Go away." Karen talking over me. "Oh, grow up." Her speech became more and more muffled as I got even more overwhelmed. Attempting to sit on the ground, Karen grabbed my arm. "Don't touch me." If up until this moment we didn't have a crowd, now we definitely did. A security guard appeared and I calmed down a bit, enough to understand speech. "What's happening here?" he asked. "This person over here is faking. They have scammed the program to give them a service dog for their autism. My child will benefit from that dog more as it really has autism and doesn't speak. I need that dog." As she was saying, I felt a tug on Knox's leash, and I unclipped it from her collar. Now I was holding Knox for her harness as she was sitting right in front of me, giving me gentle snuggles and kisses. "How dare you? Guard, do something!" The security guard turned to me now. "Mister, is that dog a service dog?" I answer him while still crying, "Yes." "They don't need it." The security guard shushes the Karen and asks, "Do you have an ID for the dog and can I have yours?" I answer, "Yes." I give the security guard the needed documents. They check them and give them back. I am not from the US or the UK. There is no such thing as owner-trained service dogs. Service dogs are trained by professional trainers and are free. There are requirements that need to be met, such as diagnosis or an interview with a medical team lead or therapist. He tells me, "Your documents are intact. You may go."
No, that's not fair. My kid needs that dog more than this adult.
"Ma'am, I will ask you to return the leash to this gentleman and continue with your day."
No, this is my service dog that they are now holding.
"Ma'am, that's theft. If you don't return the leash now, I'm afraid I'll have to call the police." Karen kept insisting on not giving it back, and she tried to run with it, but the security caught up to her and kept her till the police could come and arrest her for theft. I had to call someone from my family to come and be with me till all of this is done, especially with the charges that will be pressed, since I don't understand much about these kind of procedures, and I was already shaken up from this interaction. Just about back in the USA in Walmart. Of course, in Walmart. Did you think it was in Target or Chick-fil-A? Me and my dad were shopping for some school supplies. Then, while we were organizing stuff, I realized a new backpack was broken and I couldn't use it. So we had to go back to the store. We head over to customer service. Chapter 1. An angry lady. Me and my dad walk up to customer service to get a refund and a new backpack. Meanwhile, we seen a woman yelling something about headphones and stuck at the employees. My dad knows how Walmart is and just watches as I put on my headphones and begin to watch some YouTube. Then I see the poor kid, just standing there next to his mom waiting for her to stop. Only after the full encounter happened, I realized that she wanted some sort of headphones, but since they were such an expensive product that Walmart didn't expect a crazy lady to want, so they were out of stock. Back to the story. The lady now throws something at the employees. I think it was a sign or something. And now my dad realizes that this is going to turn into a bad time. So we do the smart thing and start walking away, which lets Karen notice. She now dashes over to me and my dad while we have our backs turned. She left her kid a customer service too. Chapter 2. Now it involves me. The lady runs over, and instead of trying to ask me for my headphones, annoy me or anything that involves talking, she grabs my headphones and in turn, my normal phone. She picks the phone off the floor as my dad just looks in shock. 2 men and 1 woman and all the employees goes to chase her down. My dad decides to follow them when the crazy lady is caught. I only hear screaming some "Ows!" and a lot of swear words. My dad now speeds up because he isn't 60. Why would you think that? When we arrive at the last sight of Karen, there is 1 security guard and 1 male employee who had tackled her. She is screaming at the top of her lungs. 1 female employee comes up to my dad and asks him if these are his headphones. These headphones were so mangled that the only part you could tell that it was some headphones is the connection thing you put into your phone. Luckily, she gave me my phone and it only has like minimal damage. Chapter 3. The Aftermath. We decided to leave, but we were key witnesses or something like that, so we had to wait. There I see the kid just sitting next to his mom being tackled by 2 men. When the cops arrive, everyone damaged by the lady wants to press charges. She doesn't scream or say anything. She just spits. They put her in handcuffs and put a mask over her face to prevent spit. She knocks that off and they put one of those spit hoods over her. They take everyone's statement and it's clear that she's heading over to the plea bargains. Apparently she didn't hit any employees. She just threw that sign right next to her to show her anger or something like that. I don't really know what charges she's getting, but I think theft, disturbing the peace, and destruction of personal property. We got like $30 as a payback for the headphones, And that was that. I almost forgot the kid in his story. Customer called in. Names used have been changed for privacy. I'm trying to place an order and it isn't going through. All my information is correct. He says, I asked him for the last 4 digits of the card he was using and the name on the card. He told me the last 4 digits and the name was Kendrick. After reviewing my system, I found the attempts under the name Rick and asked if he's entering Rick. He said no. So I advised, well, on my end it shows you are, and that the billing address you entered is not the address your bank has attached to the card. This must match or they think it's a fraud.
It is right. They have my P.O. box in my physical.
I advised he needs to enter his physical address for billing. He was entering his P.O. box only, and it will finally go through and process. Rather than taking 5 seconds to do that and processing the order, he goes,
Can you just do it for me?
Me, annoyed as heck, advises him, I want to ensure you don't have this issue in the future when ordering online. I want to show you how it works.
I already tried all week and all day today.
Did you try with your physical address and the billing on any of those attempts?
No, I didn't.
Well, that is why it wasn't working, sir. If you will just take a moment to update it, it will finally go through. He continued to argue, so I finally said, if you seriously don't want to, then I will try it on my end. And he says okay. So instead of updating his address and placing the order in less than a minute, he now gets to take extra steps and sit on the phone longer. I know it's stupid to be irritated over, but heck, I run into this all the time. And it's very easy fix. So now I follow policy and take care of him. Little do they know he's gonna have to try again later himself so he can learn how to order online properly. I told him I needed him to find me the item numbers. I know how to explain where to find the item numbers, but chose to let him figure it out himself. He finds them after a couple of minutes, and I get his bag together and give him his total. He gives me his card information and boom, card gets declined. I advised him to contact his bank, then update his billing address as advised before, and it will just go through. Mind you, I could have asked him for the correct billing zip code, and the order might have gone through, but screw it. I tried to make it easy on him, but he wanted to try and be lazy, which backfired and ended up in more work for him. You called me for help, so next time, take my advice. I woke up this morning to some intense screaming coming from the neighbors across the street. There has been some drama going on between the 2 houses across from us because, for whatever reason, Karen, one of the 2 neighbors, decided to have an issue with the newly installed ramp on her next-door neighbor's property. And that's another tragedy in its own because a lady living in the other house got into a car accident a couple of weeks ago that left her with a spinal injury and got put into a wheelchair because of it. There has always been drama between those 2 guys, but mostly Karen was the instigator. And over some nonsense, there is no denying that. So as I was saying, we woke up in the morning on Karen screaming like no tomorrow, saying that this ramp was illegal and some other nonsense like that, which had nothing to do with her in the first place. It's not even near her property by any means. The screaming match gets really intense, and then Karen decides that waking up the entire neighborhood with her screeching was not enough, and she takes this craziness to the next level. She runs into her neighbor's yard, walks up, then shoves her wheelchair-bound neighbor down the ramp with all she got, causing her to roll down very fast and crash into the ground and fall off her wheelchair. The poor lady's 12-year-old son and 17-year-old daughter rushed out from inside the house after hearing the sound of the crash. It seemed that they were still asleep when this whole situation started. The boy rushes to his mom and tries to tend to her, while the daughter takes one look at her mother on the ground, then bolts towards Karen and flies at her with one hell of a swing at her head that ends up breaking her jaw. We picked up the phone and called the cops the moment we saw Karen breaking into her neighbor's property, and within 10 minutes they were on scene, calling an ambulance for the wheelchair lady and for Karen as well, since she was laying on the ground in a poor shape after the daughter was done scratching and punching her. I thought our surveillance cameras caught the whole thing, And so I offered to show the cops what exactly happened and even give them a copy if they needed it. This whole thing is still fresh, so there are no in-game resolutions yet, but I can assure you from what the cops were saying that Karen is going to face some serious charges once everything is settled. They weren't sure amongst themselves if the daughter used excessive force defending her mother or not, but that's probably to be decided later after conducting further investigations. Not gonna lie, I of course don't wish for any disabled person to experience what this poor lady went through, but I'm glad as a result that we, as a neighbor, are getting rid of that nasty woman terrorizing everyone around. Good freaking riddance. Many years ago, I got put on a work assignment for months that required me to travel to New York City and stay every Monday to Friday. I was assisting a company manager with a project and my hotel was near his regular office in the theater district. If you are not familiar, the theater district is heavily built for tourists. Restaurants are generally kind of fancy and expensive. There were really not any quick and cheap options for dining in that area. The company had a generous meal policy of up to $30 to $40 a meal for travel expenses. I did use that for a bit, but the food got to feeling too indulgent and kind of ridiculous given it was an extended assignment. Also, I was working really long hours and did not want to go sit in restaurants. I just wanted to go watch TV and sleep in my room. So after the first week or so, I instead went to a grocery store on Monday night. I bought some basics for cereal, sandwiches and snacks, and some frozen meals I could microwave for lunch in the office. It cost about $60. I then took a few cans of soda from my hotel fridge to make room for my weekly food purchase and returned them before checking out at the end of the week. That was it for food costs, with an occasional meal out here or there. I did the same the next 4 weeks, submitting my expense report at the end of the month. You know where this is going. A lady from accounting called and refused to reimburse my expenses because $60 is more than $40, the max allowance for a meal purchase. I explained that I had covered 5 days of food but was told it didn't matter. I then spent the next month trying all the food in the neighborhood. There really were not any cheap options. I went out to eat a few mornings, lunch whenever I found time, and dinner absolutely every day. I could have bought a few installments of groceries, but the once-a-week shopping convenience was part of why I'd wanted them. It had also seemed wasteful for me to go out for an expensive meal every night for long-term travel, but now I've been told that was preferred by accounting to my grocery bills. The next month I got a call from my NYC manager asking how I'd run through more budget every week of the month than the entire months before combined. I explained the grocery situation, and he thanked me and he hung up. About 10 minutes later, that same lady from accounting called me to tell me that they would pay my still not reimbursed grocery bill and any going forward, as long as the daily amount averaged for the week was under the aggregate meal allowance, and I happily returned to a more reasonable diet. Thank you for watching and see you next time.